Ah, London, French Britain. Wait, what? Ah, it's 1938. I've restored the French Empire, put Napoleon on the throne, and we've already conquered the Brits in 1938. In this game, I'm going to show you how we did that, a little bit more step by step than usually, and after that, we'll continue kicking ass against the Germans, the Russians, and the Japanese. Stay tuned. Alright, so let's play France and restore the French Empire. Our country has quite a few problems: victors of the Great War, disjointed government, inefficient economy, so our first priority is a revolution. We'll head down and revive the national bloc, all the way down to revise the constitution. We have zero room for deviation in our focus tree, so pay attention to the order of the focuses. Research-wise, it's time for choices, but we will have some time to build up. So we'll start with the basics. In terms of production, we will need to build up a bit, but we can afford to build 6 civilian factories, after which we will branch out. Italians are on the to-do list, so we will need a supply hub here in Savoy. And another thing I like to do is build a port here with a railroad, so I can hold the border at Tunisia. You can also easily withdraw to a better supply position, but I don't like withdrawing. Production-wise, add 1 factory to the guns and add 1 to anti-air. We'll fill these up later as we go, and we'll finish whatever ship we are building. We'll create an intelligence agency right from the start. As for our army, I've reorganized it as follows. I have a main army, Army 1, consisting of 24 of the regular Division d'Infanterie. They will be our main attack force for the first few wars, and we'll park them for no particular reason on the border of Belgium. We have a reserve army of Brigade Coloniale, the reserve template. We'll put them on the Maginot. And we have another 12 divisions of Brigade Coloniale, and we'll split them across Corsica here, and then press S, and the other half we will put on the Tunisia border. We'll exercise all of them. Then we will grab every plane that is not attached to an aircraft carrier, gather them here in the Reims region, and exercise to level 3. I'd like to promote de Tassigny as a field marshal, set occupied territories to local autonomy, and release Algeria as a puppet. Quite a few steps, but we're ready to go. Speed 5. I'm using the intelligence agency to get some civilian infiltration for extra political power, so basically all I need is invisible ink. I'm getting localized training centers to get a British spy. The rest is up to you. Remilitarization of the Rhineland will issue a diplomatic objection, and will utilize the leagues. We're on a timetable here because of this guarantee. We're going to rush for war against the UK, and any sane person would drop the guarantee for the Czechs, because, well, these two things pretty much line up. You invade the UK the moment the Germans are justifying for Sudetenland. However, we are going to pay powerful France. We are not going to abandon our friends. So we're going to challenge ourselves with saving the Czechs. I unfortunately have the communism event rather than the early mobilization, but this strategy is viable without the early mobilization event, so we'll just pick rather reform than revolution, just to prove that we can do this. I've gathered up all the fleets into one big fleet. I'm going to split off the submarines and give them to this bold admiral, split it in two, and give the rest to Abrial and just distribute that fleet. Both of these fleets can go to Casablanca. Utilize leagues and the Council of Rambouillet. Council of Rambouillet is done, and we'll revise the Constitution. That will give us the National Spirit Constitutional Revision for a year, and we need to get rid of that National Spirit before we do Law of Exile, so we have a year to do some other focuses. We no longer have a deficit of infantry equipment. We will therefore train another army of reserves. The Brigade Coloniale, just put them on low priority. They'll get finished when they get finished. Revised Constitution is done. Laissez-faire is a very good option, but I want to be researching the 1937 tax for industry to maximize the use of these bonuses. Begin rearmament is very useful, however it requires 12% war support, and that's exactly what I have. If you've had the early mobilization event, you would be higher and it would be a safe choice. For now, I'll just head towards the research slot. I don't want my focuses to cancel. First 150 PP is in, and we will get the silent workhorse. Devalue the franc, and we'll now do begin rearmament. We are 13% war support, and that's enough of a margin for me. That's begin rearmament, aggressive focus, and all the other stuff. It's really good to do that, but I believe the priority should be the research slot. 5 factories on guns now, 2 on support equipment, and 2 on artillery. To save up your command power and political power, we will be sending an attaché to China. Develop the Metropole is done. We're almost lined up to get all of the 1937 industry tax, so now is a good time to get laissez-faire. Our initial wish list is done, and we'll continue into military factories. Over 200 PP, so I'm confident to do improved worker conditions. And let's improve relations with China so we can send an attaché when the war breaks out. That's laissez-faire. And we'll do another one of our focuses towards the research slot. Japan declares war on China. We can almost send an attaché. Now we can, and we can stop improving relations. Once we build new factories, we'll build some more anti-air and branch out into artillery. See if we can get our template expanded. Now the attaché is sent, we can expand on command points for our field marshal. Invest in metropolitan France is done. It's September 37, and constitutional revision will end on October 37. So we're not taking a focus right now. We'll give Hatay back to the Turks, so we can immediately repeal the law of exile when it's available. We no longer get the effects of constitutional revisions. Repeal the law of exile. There is a repeal the law of exile. We'll continue immediately with Proclaim the Third Empire and Avenge Waterloo. Still saving a PP. I want to go to partial mobilization when I can, and I'll need to do war propaganda against either the Dutch or the Belgians. Our reserve army is finishing up, and we'll put them under a defensive field marshal, Weygand, defensive general, and of course on the Italian border. No telling what the Italians might do. There's Anschluss, 29% war support, and we can go to partial mobilization. And we will avenge Waterloo. 20 experience. Take the Division d'Infanterie, make them elites at armored recon. We still have those light tanks, and support anti-air. Napoleon claims the throne of France, so our local autonomy has switched back to military governor. Local police force will do. And don't forget to re-exercise the troops. Well, over 100 PP, over 200 PP, we can safely get a Chief of Air Force now. Ground Support Specialist. And we have some air XP, so we'll just make a basic fighter. I like to use cannons, light machine guns, and the best engine. And this will do for now. And the rest of the factories can go on there. And there we are, Avenge Waterloo. Declaring war on both the Dutch and the Belgians right away. Being at war will allow us to go to war propaganda. We'll use the Air Force for more experience, and we'll set the army to go immediately. As for our next focus, we're pretty much done here for now. All of this stuff is good, but I really want that for research slot first. Belgium is done. What I'd like to do is puppet Belgium in Belgium itself. Add war reparations and resource rights, and just annex the rest for the French Empire. The army can continue with the Netherlands. Just to make sure, are we at war with the Dutch East Indies? No, we're not. I'll declare war. Pretty much the same routine here. Don't forget to take the Dutch Navy or the Dutch Indies Navy. Those are necessary. And colonies. Now you can take these territories, of course, but it's very hard to defend the lowlands against the German war machine, so I'd like to keep my border limited to the Maginot. We're still in the timetable here, so we're going to move the army to Brest, except for the top 10 divisions. We're going to move them to Marseille. Press Ctrl B to railroad. We really are in a hurry right now. Set the Air Force on Western France and on the western approaches. And those 10 divisions that are heading toward Marseille, set up a naval invasion in teams of 2 from Casablanca into the western approaches. This will bypass the English Channel and offer a much better chance of actually getting across. The 2 ports of Bristol and Cardiff and the 3 tiles next to them are your targets. Navy-wise, just add the Dutch fleets to your own. Both fleets in Casablanca, set them on strike force in these 4 zones. The troops are here, let's just wait for their orc to enter. Set the naval invasion to go. And declare war. Not that easy apparently. Naval invasion isn't launching from the start, but here we go. Set the main fleet to naval invasion support. And now it's time for thoughts and prayers, and we'll get the motorized ready to go in Brest as well. UK will often naval invade you back, just pull off your troops from the Maginot. We can afford it for now. Cardiff and Bristol are contested, but we can win this. We can also switch the Navy now, the Air Force now to help out. Enter the tile above Cardiff, press S and attack into Cardiff, and do the same here. Surround the port, that way you will get it. And with the port grabbed, we will then move in the rest of the forces. Here comes the justification of the German Reich against us. That's them going for Sudetenland. As I said, timing is going to be very tight here. No need to do shenanigans like encircling London. If you can win this, do it, and do it quickly. London has fallen. And here we are. Once again, I like to go over puppets. British Malaya, the British Raj, South Africa, New Zealand, Canada, Australia, the United Kingdom with war operations and resource rights. You can jiggle around with the rest, but this is good enough. We can also grab Ethiopia under the feet from Italy. And now we have a few days to respond to the German threat. Maginot is probably safe for now, but we should get our main army back to the mainland. Italy hasn't joined the Axis yet, but they are probably ready to do so. Industry-wise, it's probably best to build those factories that we are building inside French Britain to lower their autonomy. Puppets we get now will be puppets and not integrated puppets. Integrating them is a good plan. We will get you more factories. And here we are. Hungary renounces Treaty of Trianon, but German Reich declares war on Czechoslovakia. There's no Munich conference, it's just a war goal. And we will accept the call to arms and help out our Czech friends. Question is how though? We're not creating a faction with them. 76% war support, we can go to war economy. Right, so we're at war with the Germans and the Czechs are in trouble. Now I've done a few test runs and the Czechs are going to die. There's not much you can do about it. I've tried pushing in through the Maginot into Saarbrücken and into Frankfurt, but by the time you get there, the Czechs are dead and the full might of the Germans comes against you. Doesn't mean we can't try though. Grabbing some territory is always good, but we're not going to take every chance. Let's just line up these guys on the German border and see if we can grab this piece up until the Rhine. That would make sense. Put up navy, but also justify a war goal on Italy. Not sure when exactly they join, but if it takes too long, this is the first spot I want to hit. I'm also going to train another army, start off as reserve army, which I'll add a support artillery to, I think. Yep, this will do. Deficits are almost non-existent. We'll be able to do this. Hungary joined the Axis. I mean, if the Czechs weren't going to die yet, they're going to die now. Support de Grande École is done and we'll head to the other research slot. Basically, while I'm at war, I'm going to build up for actually fighting that war. Well, attacking across the Maginot isn't going according to plan. We'll see how it goes. The Czechs expanded even, but that just means they break their entrenchment on the formidable fortifications there. I'm also going to call the Brits in. I left them their navy. They can manage hunting down Germans here. And who knows what surprises they'll bring. Reach the river here, and it would be very good if I actually broke these guys. And Italy joins the Axis. That means I probably have some problems elsewhere. We're fine for now. Yeah, with all the business here, we're going to orderly retreat to a defensible position. Well, let's say our Maginot Line, and use the main army to naval invade Italy. Fall of Cairo. British puppet not doing too well. Maybe I just shouldn't have thrown him in like that. Let's see if I can help him out. And these guys seem to be holding. Combat casualties, exhort heroism. Managing war support is really vital. As France, you don't have that much. The fall of Rome. I wonder how the game will break if Italy becomes a British puppet instead of... Oh well. We'll see about that later. Czechs are still alive. Imagine that. Several test runs. Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact is coming up. You'd say the Germans are already well on their way to being too busy, but that never stopped them before. Fifth research slot coming right up. And that's our next research slot. We are having manpower problems, so I'll try to head for Bloom-Violette proposal and expand the citizenship. Quite a few focuses that we're not spending on our doctrines or stuff like that. What we gotta do, what we gotta do. And Benito is deposed. And here's the Civil War. Transfer the territory. We did get the puppet. And immediately they're capitulated. So we're done here. As far as Italy is concerned. That's Bloom-Violette. Will give us some manpower. We'll also do expand the citizenship. Expand the citizenship. Let's do aggressive focus. Really need to port ASAP. And we got it. Good, good, good. Send in everyone. Right, fun part's over. Let's take Berlin. Berlin encircled, which is mostly for fun. We don't need to keep them encircled. Let's just take the city. The fall of Berlin. Vive la France. Here's collaboration government, which means we're almost there. I'm checking my stockpiles if I have enough tanks to add another one to the division. So as you can see, I'm not waiting until I have the perfect division available. I'm just working with what I got and expanding that. We're done. I pretty much have all the points here. French Britain is in, but they're my puppets, so if they take stuff, that's alright. We'll liberate Czechoslovakia, just because, well, that was pretty much the premise here. We were going after the Czechs to save them. And that's a beautiful peace deal. French Empire rules supreme. We have 100% compliance, so this will become a collaboration government. But we have conquered most of Europe in 1940. We haven't conquered the Czechs. They are, of course, our friends now. Kingdom of Greece joins the Axis. You mad? Well, at least we're at peace now. We can finish things up. Naturally, the Russians also have to go. Let's declare war on Mongolia. Well, we build up some more. Skipped a bit. Currently engaged in warfare with the Soviets and with the Japanese. They attacked Yugoslavia and I was still guaranteeing them. It's alright, I'm French, I'm big and powerful, I can handle it. Probably going to skip through most of this. By this time, the wars are no longer interesting. I'll show you the end result though. Fast forward 2 years, almost there. All the big cities have been taken, 75% compliance. It's a matter of time now. But since it's the Soviet Union, it's a matter of a lot of time. Annexed a few puppets, got my manpower under control, and here we are. French, Russia, revenge for Borodino. Still at war with the Japanese, still no French Union, so got my work cut out for me. Also, I think I can do that disunite Germany focus thing. Oof. I absolutely hate having to look at so many German states, but it's going to be the clickbait thumbnail for our video, so here we go. Also, we will create a faction then. Now, I'm still at war with Japan, so these territories are going to be under pressure. Disunite Germany is done. Well, I'm almost afraid to look at it. But here it is. Prussia, Westphalia, Bavaria, Württemberg, more Prussia, that should have been Austria, I guess. Saxony, Mecklenburg, Schleswig-Holstein. Oof. And I got myself a nice faction, Confédération du Rhin. It took some jiggling, but the naval invasion is launching all the way from Singapore. And here we go. Immediately we have the ports. It's kind of busy here. Ooh, that's a lot of divisions cut off Japan. It'd be a shame if someone would destroy them. And a juicy amount of troops under capital. And that was Japan. We'll just puppet. And here we are. We are also at peace, which means we can finally do the French Union. Let's see who wants to be part of this glorious French Empire, this glorious Confédération du Rhin. And here is the French Union. Well, let's see. Indochina votes against the Union. Syria votes against the Union. Central Africa votes to leave. West Africa votes to leave. And North Africa votes to leave. Such ingratitude. 5 times refused. If you like this video, please take a moment to press the like button, leave a comment, or even subscribe. It really helps me out in reaching other viewers like you, and I need those other viewers. Thanks! And stay tuned for a horrible epilogue. Doing very well, but it's a slow game. Huge attrition loss here. No supply from capital. Which peace conference are we seeing here? Russia was annexed? French Empire has capitulated? Ah. Okay. So I kind of forgot Yugoslavia was in the Chinese United Front. Was all focused on my war in China, and there you go. I was annexed. Second video in a row, I think I put this in here. You can see even YouTubers make mistakes. Actually, we make quite a lot of them.